to the rationalinvestor.com's daily brief. The answer to your question is learn the goddamn process, trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the rationalinvestor.com's daily brief free video here for you, the public. Not quite sure what to chat with you guys here about today. I suppose there's a bunch of things that happen. Sometimes you're just not in the right frame of mind. Might as well be honest with all of you guys. I'm just another clown, just like each and every one of you in the market. And some days you have good days, some days you have bad days. Some days you just can't help but every staircase you see, you just want to fall down them. I don't think this is, there's debate that this isn't real, but it was just kind of funny to see probably a very typical anecdote of life right now. And I was joking with the guys in the room. I mean, you would think for the president of the United States, why not create like an escalator stairs, right? So that he doesn't have to worry about walking up and down these damn stairs every time. But Chris was telling me that this is phony baloney. It's not real. But anyway, that was kind of funny. That actually kind of summarizes my day. It's kind of a messy day. Didn't have very good sleep last night, so woke up probably in a poor frame of mind. Did one thing I'm very proud of myself, not making any money at it, but process goals. We are doing our opening range trade and following the process, and of course doing all of our due diligence and all of that kind of fun stuff on a daily basis. And sometimes trading just goes this way. So we were trading our opening range trade, went short, and literally the market ran up, stopped us out, full stop at a loss. And then process goals, everything's fine. Actually, I even learned how to do a different type of order entry on that Trade of 8 platform today, which made it a little easier to do the trade. But another losing trade. ORT not doing very well here. And the irony of it all is that the trades that actually have worked here on the ORT of late, I've ended up missing them. Is that fate? I don't know. But a lot of losses in the opening range trade recently. Really disappointing, to be honest with you. So, according to my plan, if I start out of the gate with my live account with a loss, then I just have to put it away. I don't want to add to my losses through the day. Ideally, what should happen with this opening range trade is you open up the day with a little bit of money in your pocket, a little bit of the market's money, and then you can go have some fun trading other setups with risking the market's money. But tough market for the Beamish here right now. But anyway, slow and steady wins the race. Got to try and keep my head up and be positive and all that kind of fun stuff. Gotta sneeze, hold on. Oh, excuse me. What was interesting about that opening range trade, actually somebody suggested that we watch the SOFR for our money cycle image, and there's just not enough data to make it usable, so I'll put that away. The person who asked about that SOFR yesterday, that image is for you. So anyway, but first thing this morning, committed to doing this opening range trade, and this is a piss off, and sometimes the market just goes this way. It drives you crazy. So there is that opening minute, went short, came up, and literally our stop is at 1752, one tick above that high there, and look at the market that went to 1753, and then the damn trade worked. So anyway, it is what it is. A little bit frustrating. Following that, and I sort of made a commitment that I'd try and follow this ICT model and see if we could make that a setup that we can maybe help people learn at TRI. drew out all my opening or my overnight liquidity pools, both the upside and the downside of the four markets I was following. And we had Econs that came out at 5:30 this morning, so that didn't really help the situation. I suppose it's an interesting commentary on trading Econs. So I didn't really have any of these liquidity pools set up, especially, like you can see, there's the stock market on that econ that came out. We could talk about that in a moment. Just the most violent reaction. And so as a result, these setups didn't really set up prettily. Did have a trend continuation trade, which is the bot setup. Anybody that's worked with me in it for a while should be familiar with it. So really what I'm thinking here is A to B, and then clone that, C to D, looking for the euro to head down into this area. And actually you can probably see the chart on the 1 minute. There it is, broken all the levels down. So go short at 25% of that C to D leg. Get to move my stop to scratch at half of that anticipated move, which I did. Didn't have the move stop to trailing level hit, so just missed it by a whisker. And then just sat and watched the market just slowly work its way right back up and stop me out at scratch. So there's my day. Kind of a crappy day. So hopefully you can understand why I'm kind of a bit in a salty mood here right at the moment. Actually, Chris had pointed this out just before we got the video going, that if you had just taken a measured move from the low back up top, we did work our way up into, this is the euro. I think he was talking about the stock market, but you can see how we rallied right up into Mountain Man, put in a high within a high within a high. But after this event, I was kind of like, wanted to go and make myself some breakfast. So I didn't even really see this, but that would have been a half decent short entry there, I suppose. And I guess that's working away, but I missed that trade. So unfortunately, like I said, if anything, it was a good commentary, a good conversation I had with one of our day traders this morning, Ed, and he was all perky and with it and kicking butt. And actually, he was even trading this megaphone with Adam. We had pointed out this megaphone, and I mean, this was absolutely textbook. The market ran right up into the megaphone top and then topped out. And I think this is the market that Chris was even pointing out that that was a pretty good 78.6 tag, and then a really pretty little double top, and there's a pretty half decent little short signal right there. So it just goes to show, I just mentally wasn't with it here following getting stopped out at scratch on the euro. I sort of checked out today, but yeah, it looks like there was a half decent short there on the stock market about half an hour or so ago. So way to go, any of you who were able to catch. Ed caught the move off the megaphone bottom. I was really proud of him for that. And Chris had mentioned that he saw this. I don't know, Chris, did you actually pull the trigger on this BFF double top right up there? I don't know whether he did or not. All right. Well, anyway, there's your trader report. Kind of a crappy day from Brian. Well, I mean, I'm not going to say crappy. I was pretty pleased with myself for process goals. Did everything I said I was going to do in my trading plan. Trade didn't work. I got stopped out by one bloody tick, eh? And had that just been a little bit more forgiving, I would have been like talking to you guys about, oh, look at me, I'm so awesome. But I'm not awesome today. Well, what can you do? So what's driving all of this today? I mean, that's half the reason why we do these videos, try to explain the sort of macro and fundamental backdrop of all this. And let's see, I think we have it up here. Econs tastes great. Wednesday, November 15th. I guess we're halfway through the month of November, and we had a Econs come out first thing this morning, 5:30 a.m. And of course, it just seems to me that whenever I have these econs come out at this early in the morning, I almost invariably wake up in a foul mood and sort of had a terrible sleep and all that. So wasn't really with it. And you saw how violent the price action was on the price charts, but nonetheless, 5:30 we had producer price index. So this is like all the wholesale prices in our society, and they actually came out minus 0.5%. So technically, that's deflation, which I suppose is, I guess a relatively good sign. Chair Powell and all that nonsense. He's been saying for quite a while he wants to bring pain into our lives, and I think he's getting his pain wish. Retail sales, of course, Mr. Druckenmiller, he likes to follow the retail sales number. And if we're a consumer-based society, retail sales obviously key, also came in a slightly negative number. So these are deflationary reports, and I think that's sort of the knee-jerk reaction out of the market was like, whoa, that's a bit surprising. And also, too, we've been barking at you guys, or at least I have, recently about how China has been reporting a lot of deflationary data points of late, economy contracting rather than expanding. The only problem with China is you can't believe half of that data that comes out there. I mean, they're totalitarian dictatorship. They're basically you worship Winnie the Pooh, or there's the concentration camp. Go and enjoy yourself, a life in prison and slave labor. So, can you believe anything coming out of there? Did find it interesting, speaking of old fuddy duddies falling downstairs. These two are actually meeting in San Francisco. A bit of an odd place. If anything, that in itself is a tell that the Chinese are in a very, very weak position here. There's no way that the Chinese leader would come to the United States of America unless he really needed the United States' help. So, if anything, that's in itself a sign of submission. So I was a little bit surprised to hear that. And if I understand correctly, they're meeting in San Francisco. And I mean, what hypocrisy. They got fucking totalitarian dictatorship coming from overseas, gets more attention. I mean, like literally, they are sweeping the bums off the streets of San Francisco and trying to make the United States of America actually look like a half decent society for this sort of trumped up meeting. Can we use that word? I'm sure he probably wouldn't like that. So anyway, I mean, who knows what the fuck's going to come out of all this? But just the fact that the Chinese leader is coming to the United States of America and stepping on American soil to have this meeting is definitely a sign of submission. So that's the way I would interpret this. Somebody over on YouTube did make a point. You saw the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index came in very strong. This index, though, I've noticed over the years, it's all over the map. So I don't know how much credence you can give to this. You can see it's just all over the place. Having said that, this is technically a W, down, up, down, breakout. Was this like a wedge building, and we are getting the resolution of that? Could be. So the great state of New York and that area, actually, which would just be north of, I suppose, Chris. You're in New Jersey, right? Is that correct? I think that's where he is. Yeah, so I mean, generally speaking, what is the mood around your neighborhood? Are people optimistic? Are they working? Are they feeling pretty good? You probably see that. All right. Um, I guess the data itself is suggesting that that area is enjoying a bit of an uptick in manufacturing. At the same time, too, you have to sort of, is this an outlier? Like speaking of which, we had the crude oil inventories come out today. Look at this huge build. I mean, just absolutely insane build. But this is weird. There's some funny business going on with the crude inventories here because they actually had to report like 2 weeks of data. And you can see we got massive builds in crude stocks, but then huge drawdowns in gasoline stocks. I mean, 6.3 million barrels for gas. Holy moly, that's a big number. We have been talking a lot recently about how crude oil, like on the dailies and weeklies, looks extremely heavy. What are you supposed to think if you see the market smiling at you? And in a weird sort of way, I actually like this kind of thinking that it's going to help tech and the stock market and be a deflationary force. I'd be curious. So you can see the crude, that was, I mean, 16 billion barrels. That is or million barrels. That's a huge build. Even for EIA standards, that's a pretty damn big 13.8. 13.8 plus 3.6. So in a 2 week period, a build of 17 million barrels of crude oil. That's a lot. But at the same time, too, like I said, scratching my head a little bit, almost a 8 million barrel drawdown for unleaded supply. So it looks like on balance with the PPI numbers, which is negative, and the fact that the build was so big, it doesn't surprise me the crude price is heavy here. And I wouldn't be surprised. Like, do you see where the Foggenbaum levels here? That's $64, $65. And of course, horizontal support and resistance. You can see where the last time this sort of bear was stopped and somebody stepped in and said, no, you go up now. So I have a sneaky suspicion you're going to see crude oil prices down in these levels here over the next, let's say a few months, maybe into the new year kind of thing. What would be really curious to me is to see how the market reacted in that unleaded gasoline market. So there's unleaded gasoline. And with the drawdown as big as it is, do we see any sort of reprieve in the selling here? I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, we're right up against a major support level here. Obviously, these key lows from back there in what is that? That's December of last year, a full year ago. And it would make sense, right? Because I mean, I don't know what's the weather in New Jersey like these days, Chris? Is there snow flying?
Not yet, but it's getting cold. It's a little
All
under
right.
50 degrees Fahrenheit here.
So, and I did hear like Adam said that he was about to hit the road. He was going to go to visit his mother for U.S. Thanksgiving holiday and stuff. So usually, the way the seasonal trade works is we end up bottoming and putting in a significant low through the winter months, which makes sense because that's lack of driving. But is this ready to sort of puke out here? Look at the selling, the volume. Wow, these big red chunky bars. MACD actually has a bearish momentum divergence, actually confirmed there. RSI's rolled over. We haven't quite W'd it, and Willie is not even stupid yet. Are you stupid yet? Nope, no stupidity there yet. So you might find that this thing has to swoon for a little while. So I don't know how deep that goes, but I don't know because the EIA put out that report the other day that, or sort of delayed last week's report, and then today's report is like 2 full weeks, and they changed the way that they measure all this stuff. I don't know. I think the dust has got to settle on all that to really interpret the new information. One market that our weekly commodity trend survey has been very bullish of late, and it looks to me like we are still on the bull side, is this natural gas market. And believe it or not, I could actually see natural gas work its way all the way up to, the simplest technical objective you should always use is the 50% rule. I noticed there's a nice juicy price gap right up there. So that's 595. And if I understand correctly, The Americans are actually put in an interesting position because the American politicians have basically said, and who knows? I mean, it's all politics, right? But they basically said that they don't really want to just have an open-ended funding for the Ukrainians. And frankly speaking, the American public, because keep in mind, it's not the politicians' money, it is you, American citizens, who are literally going further and further into debt. I mean, we all see what's happening with the interest rates. Um, Actually, you can see the bonds are coming off, so that means rates must be ticking back up. I think this is a delayed quote, but nonetheless, you can see interest rates, inflation, all moving higher. Well, I mean, I don't know whether anybody's actually mentioned it to the American public, but every dollar of international aid or support or whatever the fuck you want to call it for this country over there in the middle of Europe, that's just you are going further and further and further into debt as a nation. It's not like you have the money. You are literally just getting another credit card. Hey, we'll call this the Zelensky Visa card or the Zelensky MasterCard or whatever. I mean, that's basically what it is for him. So I don't really fault the the American sort of any fiscal conservative out there that's kind of like, holy fuck, we got to try and get our house in order. I mean, keep in mind, in my country, that fiscal conservative, it doesn't even exist. Like he's the opposition leader, and he has to sit there day after day after day and take substitute drama teacher socialism up the ass. And every Canadian, you go to the fucking grocery store, loaf of bread's $5. Got a dozen eggs over $5. And it's like, what the fuck's happened to our society? So, if anything, I have to be proud. Well, I don't know if proud's the right word. I have to be impressed that at least somebody in the United States is saying, hey, we don't have this money. Why do you think that we just can just blatant or just blank check fund these guys over in Ukraine? We don't even have the money to begin with. This is all debt that we're going into. And of course, the banksters, Rothschilds, Great Reset, D-Max, fucking rant up the cabinets, penetrating the cabinets, right? They love this shit. More debt slavery. I lock these slaves into place and then, of course, tax them up the ass. Um, so I'm actually pretty proud of the guy there down in the US Congress saying, look, enough is enough. But, so the whole point of this rant was the Ukrainians now are saying, all right, well, if we don't have a blank check from the United States, then that means we don't really have to worry about things like escalation. Because the scuttlebutt all along here has been, well, we better not attack Russia and attack Russian homeland and to attack Russian infrastructure, or that's going to escalate the situation. And the Americans have clearly told us we don't want to escalate this into World War III. So if the Americans say, well, we're out of here, we can't afford this, and so the blank check is off, you just do whatever you got to do. The Ukrainians now are saying, all right, well, we are now going to target Russian infrastructure. And they've had a couple of years to build up their drone technology and their drone manufacturing that they can all do this. And of course, this is all with American taxpayer money, which is ironic. But they can all do this all now completely internally within the country of Ukraine. So the scuttlebutt now is that they're going to go after the Russian infrastructure and all the pipelines and stuff like that, which could send Europe into another one of these big spirals of natural gas prices going absolutely insane. So I thought that was an interesting sort of side. And it does kind of explain why natural gas is continuing to catch a bid here, even though crude oil looks like it's about to fall off a cliff. So anyway, a little bit of rant, a little bit of politics in there, a little bit of hatred of totalitarian dictatorships. I don't like Vladdy, and I think he's a murderer and he should rot in hell. But anyway, you hopefully a little bit of edutainment there thrown in as well. Anyway, There we go. So I was sitting here going, I don't know what the fuck to talk to these people about today. So I was able to fill in 20 minutes, half hour. I hope you guys enjoyed that. In the after party, we'll swing around and take a look at, probably take a look at Bitcoin in earnest. It did put in an M, and we've dead cat bounced back into basically the Ming level. Algos, kind of not very happy again. So I don't know whether I really am too enthusiastic about doing anything here on the corn. My simple philosophy here is that if you did step in and buy the corn, Brian's favorite fib, W's, bullish divergences, bottom end of the range, into the absolute nightmare of that FTX fiasco last FTX or FTT, Sam Bankman fraud nonsense. That was where you were supposed to buy Bitcoins. Coming in and buying Bitcoins up top here, I think you're coming late to the party. At the same time, too, what's the relative risk? I think you could easily see Bitcoin work its way back down, Wyckoff check of previous breakout levels, moving average support, trend line support. At the same time, too, we do still have these bullish flags, 50% of the entire range, Foggenbaum objectives from the consolidation. So literally the way I look at something like Bitcoin right now is there's just about equal amount of risk versus potential reward in taking a trade right here. Not the kind of trade that I like to do. If you did buy off the bottom, like what I do find interesting here is that quite often markets will put in W bottoms, mark whatever the W bottom level is, and ironically enough, to mark out what a double of that is. And this number here, 18,373. So let's call that 36, 37,000 will be generous. Yeah, what a surprise. Here we are sitting basically 37,000. So, if we do eventually top out somewhere in this window, maybe on the day that the actual ETF is listed and that kind of conversation, that wouldn't surprise me. And because the risk right now, I think, is actually basically 50-50, could go either way. There's no way I could take a trade right here on this thing. What I would say this market is, there's so many of these little altcoins that are just so beautiful. I've been barking to you guys. In fact, I even told the guy who told me about this name, I told his dad that I thought this thing was a buy. I mean, you got to have balls to go to the guy who actually says, yeah, I'm really interested in this. And I look at the chart and I go, son of a bitch. And his dad is around. And I go, you should listen to your son. I don't know whether he did or not, but look at that damn move. And this thing looks like it's just getting started. You see where 2.618s are. But again, can I come in and buy this name here? No, I can't do that. You see where reload zones are. In fact, I would probably even just draw it off of there and just say, look at, if we can get a dip back down into reload zones, great, you can join the party. But I don't think it's a good idea stepping in there. Sort of the same thing as Bitcoin, right? I think you can make the argument that the risk is, well, we could dip up to 2.618, but we can also dip down to reload zone. It's almost basically like a coin toss. So it's going to be, you're probably not going to hear too many, oh my God, you got to go and buy this thing because you're too late to the party. You missed the window. You probably heard me over the past probably 6-8 months or so going, get your shit together, get your shit together, get your plan together, get your money together. And, now you've missed the boat. And, if you are coming to crypto for a brand new person, and you don't know what you're doing, I suggest you get your ass into our school program and learn how to build a trading plan and figure out what type of risk taker you are, and get practice so that when these kind of W's do come in through reload zones in the future, you're like, all right, I think I understand. I can take this trade. Let's rock and roll. We also have incredible fundamental analysis at TRI. Remember, we're supposed to be rational investors, which means half fundamentals, half technicals. And when the fundamentals and technicals agree, you got to get in there. So here's a name where the technicals were just screaming by down at the bottom here. Um, our TRI CTO, he was the one who found this name. And I mean, you tell me, and you should be able to answer this just, listening to all Brian's crazy ass rants. Am I going to be able to justify coming in and buying that today? No, there's no fucking way I can buy that. But at the same time, too, we are long a shit ton of this. And do you think TRI management is happy today? It's fun when you catch Seward in the lounge in these kind of environments, because of course he's walking on cloud nine right now, and it's name after name, a name actually that Seward's super bullish on, and I noticed when I was going through the SOF names and stuff, a lot of these artificial intelligence stocks are starting to turn back up. And I've got a couple here like this AI and SYM. Look at that double bottom that's coming in here after fairly lengthy consolidation. Indicators get nice and washed out. You can see the bullish divergences starting to come in, and hello, look what's happening. So I did find it interesting, circling back to crypto, that this is a name that Seward was uber bullish on back over here and loaded up here. Of course, you can see the W's. You can see I was the bottom end of the trading range. So, it shouldn't surprise you that TRI is long from down here. And look what's happening. We're getting ready for another run. So up she goes. And if this guy breaks out, oh boy, that's another one. I mean, so these are your sort of fundamental picks that you can come on the site and he was on the Daily Brief after party yesterday and talking a little bit about his various ideas. He gave us a really cool summary of the Rune story. So if you are a crypto enthusiast and you like crypto stories and you like fundamental stories, be sure to join TRI on Tuesdays for Seward's crypto party. In fact, maybe that's what we should change his name. Crypto Pancake Party? I don't know, something like that. You can imagine Seward's a pretty happy camper right now. Zug, of course, giving us his fundamental picks. And I think Zug is an excellent analyst, and I think he's going to be richer than all of us put together by the end of all this. So you can imagine TRIers are pretty darn happy right now. And actually, you want an absolute coup de grace. So fundamental picks, technical picks killing it, and algo's killing it. One thing that I saw yesterday, which made me so happy, was of course algo's on the site. And actually, if you're just a basic site member, you get access to this. Although the team would kind of like to remove this from the sort of intro page because it's just so valuable. I had a bunch of people, of course, come on when I got all excited and signed up for our program and the pro package, and they took this buy signal on the stock market there back right exactly when the damn market pivoted. And I was so pleased to see it. It made me so happy. I went in there and some guys like, still in this SPX long trade, and despite missing actually the signal by a couple bucks, I made back all of the money for the annual bread subscription, and it took a whopping 13 days on one trade. So TRI is killing it. I mean, whether it be crypto fundamental analysis, our community contributing ideas and analysis, whether it be the algos are killing it. Probably, ironically enough, the only area of the market, and I have to say, I'll repeat it again, process goals, actually, TRI is kicking it, process goals. This opening range trade setup is just kicking my ass. So as a result, my futures trading is kind of nothing to really write home about. But anyway, I suppose that's the way it always goes. Can't be firing 100% right across the board, but all the time. But great to see the crypto kids and the crypto community having a great old time here. If you know how to position yourself and be long from appropriate levels, fucking own this shit. As I said, the stock pickers club and the after party, we'll talk a little bit about some of the stock pickers ideas. And the dashboard, of course, helping people out immensely there in the stock market right now. So anyway, all in all, and actually, here's kind of a fun idea I'll leave you with. Uh, is the legacy of Luna dead? And I still think that Novogratz is long a ton of this, and he wants his money back. So we went and picked up a little bit of Novogratz's Luna's stable coin at nothing here. We'll see what happens. It's kind of a fun flyer, but you can actually see a W here. So hopefully you can understand why I'm interested in that thing right here. And then add insult to, actually not insult to injury, but I'll give you one more that I bought recently. I stepped in and picked up a little bit more of this. What the hell is it? It starts with an A. Of course, you can't find these. I think it was the ARPA right here. So you can see the big wide W and why I would step in. And I picked up a little bit more up top here. So we'll see what happens with this guy. So there are names that I am interested in buying and adding to. And you can see what this guy's done over the past, but I can't chase. I'm not allowed to go and, something like a link. There's no way I can go in and buy that. You can see I'm actually selling up top here. So anyway, there's your report. I hope you guys got some value out of that. We'll chat a little bit in the after party about some of the SOF ideas that we had last night. The SOF guys, geez, they're just killing it. So we'll talk a little stock here in a few minutes when we head over to the after party. But slow and steady wins a race. Don't take no wood nickels. Remember what your number one job is. PMA for the win, and have yourselves a great rest of your day. You like my hat? This is my Munchin beer drinking hat. I got this when I was over in Munich. Munich? No, Munchin. What's Munchin? I can't even remember how we in the West pronounce it. We don't pronounce it Munchin. But anyway, maybe it's Munich. Is Munich the same city as Munchen? Anyway, all right. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. So there you go. Dore, our German, right? Munchen. This is my beer drinking hat. Anyway, whenever I've got crusty hair from getting up at the minute, because keep in mind, for some stupid reason, I get up at like 4:45 in the mornings. And I'm actually seriously considering maybe I should just put the opening range trade on pause because it's having a material impact on my disposition of late. So, but anyway, while you're in the middle of a trading plan, that's not the time to adjust a trading plan. After I'm at the end of this reporting period, which will be at the end of the year, I'll circle back and I'll ask myself whether we want to continue this current trading plan. So anyway. All right. Have yourselves a great day. All the best and bye for now.